close. Is this the house you can see your family in? Yeah, I think so. And then we get into our write-up, right? I think this is where we lose a lot of our referral potential, is by not staying in often enough communication after we write something up. If it's a listing, you need to speak to every listing you have at least once a month. You know, for us, it's like a service, especially. If a car's in service and it's going to go through a weekend, you better call them for the weekend. If we're going to hold somebody's car and close down our business for a day, every person whose car we have, we should be getting a phone call to. If you've got somebody's listings at the end of the week or end of the month, at minimum at least once a month, make sure you're contacting them and say, hey, look, here's what's going on. The listings too high gives you a chance to say, hey, look, we're not getting a lot of responses. Here's some other properties I've seen that have gone quicker. What do you think? And maybe lead them to the decision of, yeah, I guess maybe mine's too expensive. That has a lot of features that mine didn't have, and it sold for less money. And so maybe you'll get more opportunity. But if you haven't contacted them in 6 or 7 months because you've had no activity on it, man, that phone call goes a whole lot rougher, doesn't it? Hey, I know I haven't talked to you about 7 months, but that old property you have, it ain't selling at all. We're not getting any leads on it. Let's go ahead and drop the price by 20 grand. Yeah, that's going to get you a bunch of extra referrals, isn't it? Everybody's going to be knocking down your door. So a lot of what this comes down to is that consistent, regular communication. It really comes down to just being all the things that they're difficult and they take a lot of work because it's that old-fashioned communication. There's no shortcut to it. But just talking to somebody regularly, letting them know that I'm thinking about your deal, and tell them I'm a professional. I like when people are like, oh, you're just trying to sell me a car. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm a car salesman. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to sell you the right car for you that fits your needs, that fits your budget. And people are usually like, oh, yeah, guess so. Be a real estate agent. This is what I do. I am here to make sure that your property sells, and thus far, we're not getting this done. So what can we do to help get you more leads on your property? And get them involved in the conversation, but get them involved early and often. And you're going to get a lot less backlash from your clients. So we get them into the offer process. We stay in regular contact with them. Hey, I hadn't heard anything back today. Don't worry, that usually happens. A lot of my deals, even though we set a 1 week cutoff on time, sometimes they don't respond for 10, 11 days. Do not worry about that. The more communication they get during this time, the more likely they are to give you referrals. Because this is when they get scared, right? This is the largest purchase most of these people will ever make in a lifetime. Cars, houses. It's usually the biggest 2 purchases of a lifetime. They're going to buy 1 or 2 houses, maybe 3 houses in a lifetime. They're going to buy a car every 3, maybe 4 years. They don't do this very often. How many, I mean, in a good year, you're going to sell, what, 24 properties, 25 properties? Does that sound about right? 2 properties a month?
Depends on who you're talking about. Top producers.
Fair enough. All right, so either way, you deal with it once a month, right? At least once every 6 weeks, you're going to deal with this. They're going to deal with this once every 6 years, 10 years. So they're not going to have the amount of resources. They're not going to have any of the training. I know y'all go through pretty extensive training just to even get the opportunity of ongoing training. Let them know, here's all the investment that I make in being your agent. I am the pro. I know the laws. I know the neighborhoods. I know what needs to happen. I know the sales that are happening. And right now, we're not getting your property sold. So I need your help with what I'm going to do. And it gives you an opportunity to open that discussion of, look, you got a $100,000 property and you want $250,000 for it. There's no amount of wizardry that I can do to sell this property for you. Unless somebody comes in and finds out their great-grandma's buried here and they have the cash in their pocket and they're willing to pay for it at all costs, it's just not going to happen. I mean, it takes a pretty big stretch, but you can't go in and ask this guy for this after not speaking to him for a long time. You've got to stay in constant contact. And if you've done that, if we've done a proper needs assessment, we actually cared enough to find out who's buying from me, why are they buying, what are they looking for, man, now I get the opportunity, I get the right to ask for referrals. I'm going to tell you about a girl named Mary Catherine. She sold me insurance. And I get a lot of people trying to sell me insurance. That's kind of I guess part of being on television, is that everybody who sells insurance says, you know what, I'm trying to sell you this kind of insurance. But this girl just did such a good job. She was pulling in, she had a friend of mine that she sold insurance to and got the referral through them. Got her to set up the meeting with me. And it felt like I was making a new friend. I didn't even realize she was supposed to be selling me real estate. Slip part number 1. Never see her coming. And she's just a great person. Genuinely cared about me, acted genuinely interested in my business, what I was doing. Got me excited talking about my business and how I'm growing it and where I want to go with it, what I want to be as a person. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, well, if you're going to do all these things, you got big goals, that's great. What's your financial plan for that? And rolled me right on into kind of laying out a financial plan. The next thing I knew, on the wall, you do sign here, we'll have it ready to go. I'm like, sign what? What are we doing? Don't even realize I'm buying it. But she's done such a good job of getting the meeting and then carrying it through. And then she starts sending me customers. Hey, I met Mary Catherine. She said to come see you about a Hyundai. And I started selling cars. Yeah, you damn right I bought her insurance. I mean, this girl's not just taking things. She's giving me stuff. she's sitting there helping my business. She found out what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, where I wanted to go, and started saying, well, here's different ways I can help support that. Man, that's such a better process than going, well, I want a house and I have to talk to an agent. Agent's like, well, here's a house. What do you like about it? That doesn't work nearly as well as finding out what's important to them. What do they have to have, that budget? They have to know the budget. I mean, there's plenty of beautiful houses here in this country. You can go down the beach and find lots of $1 million houses that nobody can afford. Well, somebody can. Not the average person we're going to talk to. And so we have to find out what is important to them and why, and just give it to them. We're professional problem solvers, right? We get the best job in the world. You show me a problem. I think last time I looked, there were 6,700 listings or something, residential listings on the southern 6 counties of Mississippi. 6,700 different solutions. You just got to figure out their specific problem, show them how it fits it, and then ask for their business about 15 times. It's a really easy game. And I think that's also cannot be undersold, is how many times you ask for their business. Anybody have kids in here? Man, kids, how many times do your kids ask you for something, right? My kid never says, I want Milky once. I want Milky 400 times until I'm fine, here's the milk. But she just keeps going for the sale and keeps going for the sale. Now we got to do it a little more tactfully. We got to vary our responses. Like, I think you should follow up often, but you can't follow up the same way every single time. If you call at 10 o'clock in the morning every single Tuesday, you don't get them. Well, figure out 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesdays. Probably the wrong time to call. Or one day I call, the next day I email, the next day I text, and I send an email, hey, am I bothering you? I just want to make sure I'm there for you when you're ready, let me know. And then I keep on the process until they tell me, hey, look, no, chill out, I'm not ready yet. And then I'll drop back to every couple weeks or whatever. But you've got to stay in touch with them long term, and you've got to constantly ask. Even the people who don't buy are a source for referrals. If you do a phenomenal job, I like Walt Disney's quote, do what you do so well, people will want to bring their friends to come see it. Do what you do so well that even if they don't buy a house, they start referring people to you. Like, look, I didn't buy from the guy. God, he's the best one I've ever dealt with. You've got to see him. We've got a girl named Eve that works at Allen Hyundai, and she started her own brand, Sips Lemonade. I got her Sips Lemonade at AllenHyundai.com. She got cancer. She's been fighting cancer. So her thing was like, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade. And so we started building this brand. Well, now she's got a brand like Little Debbie. And Sips Lemonade is known. I started doing little Facebook videos, cheap, free marketing stuff. Nothing, haven't spent $1 on it yet. But people know her now. She goes to the gas station, like, oh, it's the Sips Lemonade, Allen Hyundai girl. And she's built herself a brand, and people now want to buy from her. Because people want to buy from Scott Allen more than they want to buy from that guy at Allen Hyundai. As soon as you can get your name and cut through the clutter and prove that you are the pro, and you got to sell yourself, I am the pro. I'm the best at this. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And then actually do it. Actually step up and know what's going on. If you can combine the two, ego with the wherewithal to back it up, you're going to sell a lot more real estate and you're going to have a lot more referrals. And if you work that referral base, I sold Cutco knives. I made almost $100,000 on Cutco knives as an 18-year-old kid. Paid for any expenses I had in college and a lot of stuff I shouldn't have been buying. But it all came down to referrals. I didn't have a brick and mortar. Nobody knew what Cutco knives were when I walked in their house. There was no third-party marketing support. There were no TV ads. There was nothing. There was an 18-year-old kid who could barely grow facial hair, and a presentation they taught me, and I gave it to as many people as possible. Track your numbers. How many phone calls are you making? How many appointments are you setting? How many walkthroughs of the house are you doing, and how many are you closing? Track every one of these numbers. Figure out what your average commission is. In the car business at our dealership right now is $336. On average, a salesperson makes $336 for selling a car. So that means if I make 100 phone calls, and if I sell 3 cars, I make 300 phone calls, and I got paid per phone call, I can break that down to $36 per phone call. Or $3.60 per phone call. So at $3.60 every time I make a phone call, I'm a lot more motivated to make phone calls. Now I know what I make, because I know if I do that, if I make 100 phone calls, I'll set 10 appointments. Out of 10 appointments, 7 of them will show. Out of 7, I'm going to close 3.5. But if you don't know your own numbers like that, there's another opportunity for you to make a lot of extra money. Know what effort you're putting in. If you love me to work at one day, if you're sitting around, you don't set a single appointment, you don't show a single house, you're unemployed. You were basically unemployed that day. How many phone calls did you make? What are you doing to actively put yourself, because it is a numbers game. How can I put myself in front of more people? And then how can I track it? You've got to know how many phone calls, how many appointments, how many actually showed up, how many bought. And you need to break that down to what's that costing? What am I making for every piece of input that I put in? And once you get that down to that, you'll start making a lot more inputs. It gets a whole lot easier. And then we just Basically, be a great person when we're selling a house. Find out what's important to them. Show them how it fits. Pick a specific solution. Tell them about it over and over and over again. And then ask them for their friends. And now, we're rich. Just like that. If anybody has any questions for me, I think that's basically the road to the sale. I think that really just comes down, I'll say it one more time, I'll say it over and over. Find out who your customer is, why they came to you, what they need, show them how it fits one of your solutions, and then ask them for their business and ask them for their friends. And I think that's the road to the sale. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Scott.